Well, hi, house stampers, welcome back to my studio. I always love having you stop by for some craftiness, and today we're going to do this amazing card. I'm going to show you how to do some tips and tricks on vellum, and it's just such a pretty card. It is a slimline card, so there's a lot going on, but it's simple, easy, and just so elegant. Great for the fall season, and let's get started. Let me show you some of the product that I'm going to be using in it. All of this can be found in the Teaspoon of Fun shop. It is amazing. All right, so the markers that I'm going to use to color my vellum are going to be from our sets that we sell in the shop. Like I said, we have Bonnie's 1, 2, and the basic kit, and I highly recommend those. You've got them. You can use alcohol markers on this also, but you don't need to because it is vellum that we're working on, so let's just keep that in mind also. I did use alcohol markers on my envelope because you can't blend the regular markers on envelopes on regular paper, but you can do that on vellum. So I did use my Copics on here. I used my regular ones on here, and that's it. I also used this amazing combo. We have it as just a stamp set in the shop, but we do have some that have the combos with it. And if you want the combo, get it quick. We're not sure how long we're going to have those, so make sure you hop on over there and get those. I did use our new Slimline Waves die. It is gorgeous, but you could also use the Slimline 5 Frames die also. So you take and pick. I love this one, and you're going to see what I did with a couple of the pieces that I punched out. We do have the Slimline cards and envelopes in the shop. If you don't want to buy our envelopes, you can just use a plain business envelope. They're just absolutely gorgeous. So I did use those, and let's get started. I want to tell you something about our vellum. This is the vellum that we carry in the shop. It's a 29-pound weight. If you go too much thinner, it takes, and when you heat emboss it, or even if you don't heat emboss it, it just kind of curls on your card. So 29 weight is fantastic. If you go too high on above 29, it's too thick and you can't really see through it. So this is our 29-pound weight. I love it. It's in the shop. All right. So what I did was I pre-cut. Let's just move this out of the way. I did pre-cut my mirror paper, and that is also in the shop. Let me just show you the way it comes out. So, well, I don't even need my poker because it does just kind of slide right out. But what I want you to do is to save these little pieces right here. So you can use them as vases. You can use them, oh, so many different ways. You can use them as hills on cards. They're just fantastic. So again, I will take these and put them in my little envelope that has my stamps and dies in it. But for this one right here, what I did was I used, let me see if I can find the right one. Yep, there it is right there. I used this one to put a background on it. I also took, and I don't think I brought them upstairs, but I also embossed with the word fall right onto this piece right here. And you can do that with your Wow ink and your detailed embossing powder. All right, so don't throw these away. Save them in your envelopes. They just plop right out when you are cutting things out. So this is the frame that we're going to use. We're going to use it on the background right here. So we've got all of those cut out. And now what we need to do is to emboss the stamps. So what I do, and I do this all the time, you know that, what I do is I work smarter, not harder. So let me just show you what I mean by that. I'm going to take, and I've already lined up all of my stamps inside my MISTI, and that's just a scrap piece of paper. I lined them all up inside my MISTI. Now, when you're using your MISTI, you want to remember that if you are using clear stamps, you need this, the foam sheet that comes with it. If you're using red rubber stamps, you take this out, okay? Just know that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of vellum and just set it right inside here. Now, the other thing that you might want to do, and I strongly suggest it, is to take our powder tool and just kind of powder it around so that embossing powder won't get on the places that you don't want it. This just kind of alleviates a little bit of mess afterwards. I like this one because it's very controlled. You can just control where it's going to go and where it's not going to go. So that's a good thing also. All right, let me just see if I've got this lined up. I'm going to take and put my, perfect. I'm going to put my little magnet in there and let's ink this up. So I'm going to take and because I'm using my Wow ink, I do want to re-ink that because I haven't done that in a while. So I'm just going to take my, this comes as a combo or you can buy them separately. So if you've got a clear ink pad and you just want the roller for the ink, you can grab that too. The reason I like this is because it doesn't chew up your ink pad. This is a spongy ink pad, so it just works really well. All right, so just do that every once in a while. You don't have to do it every single time, but do it every once in a while. Let's make sure we can ink this up. Now, I'm not going to use all of these pieces, but what I do is ink them up, cut them out, and save them for a rainy day. All right, if I'm going to take all the time of inking all of this stuff up and embossing, I'm just going to do everything, and then we have it for the next time. All right, it's better to have too much than not enough, right? And now what I'm going to do is just, all right, and you want to make sure you get good coverage. So I'm just pressing down on each one of these individually. Let's make sure that we got them all. And it looks like we did really, really well. Oh, this one right here. Good. All right, now we're going to take this. I'm going to put my scrap sheet of paper back in there because I haven't cleaned these yet. All right, let's grab our, I'm using detailed embossing powder. That is very, very important. You don't want to lose all of the detail in these, and these have some very fine images. So what I'm going to do is to just throw all of my powder on the end here and just wiggle it down. Really good. Nice, nice, nice. And you'll see that we didn't get the speckles anyplace else. And we're just going to throw this back into the bottle. And we're good to go. Let's just take and, I got a little bit out, so let's just take our perfect. All right, now we're going to take this little guy and we're going to heat it up. So I'm going to bring in my Make Art station here. When you have something metal underneath it, it just heats a little bit better. There we go. We used to use aluminum foil. Okay, so I've got my heat gun. And I want to just tell you the link to this is down in the bottom. This is my favorite heat gun. If you just click on the link down at the bottom, it will show you exactly where it is. I love this heat gun. All right, so let's get going. We're going to heat. Remember, when you're heating, do not wiggle it like it is a hair dryer because you're not going to know where you got coverage and where you didn't get coverage. You see how fast this heat gun is? checking to see if I've got any dark spots, and I don't think I do. That's all there is to it. So we've got that all heated and ready to go. I'm going to take this out of the way. And now I'm going to show you how to color. Now there's a couple of different things that you can do. I'm going to bring in my colors right here, and I'll let you know that I'll let you know in my blog post what colors that I have used from those 3 sets. All right. So let me just tell you a couple things. When we're doing these flowers right here, if I were to do them on the front with the dark pink, it would be so dark. So one of the things I want you to do is to play and test and see which colors you like the best. So this one right here is pretty darn dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and use what we call the stained glass look. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm just going to color just the pink on the back because I didn't want it full strength on the front. All right, so I'm just going to take and color this like this. I'm going to just kind of skip every other one. And I'll do the other ones yellow. Okay, skip that one. And then we'll do this little guy and this one right here. Now on the back here, it doesn't matter if you go into the lines. Don't go over the lines because you'll see it. But into the lines, you don't want to do that. All right. So now that's a little bit wet. It does take a little bit longer to dry. So I'm just going to grab a scrap sheet of paper here and put it underneath. Okay, just like that. Now you see how pretty that is, but it's not as dark as the other one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back in and I'm going to remove some of the color. Now remember, this is not a porous paper, so you can actually use them kind of like alcohol inks, even though they're not real alcohol inks. And what I'm doing is taking off just a little bit of the color with this flesh color right here. All right, so now we have the outside of it. Isn't that so pretty? I'm going to take my lighter of the yellow oranges and just color in these other flowers right here because I wanted them to be a little bit more yellow than the other ones. All right, and that's how I did the flowers. Whoops, let's see. I think I got all the flowers. Now I'm going to go back in with just a little bit of this and give it a little bit of detail, just mostly around the centers, and it makes it go from flat to a little bit popped. All right, let me see if you can see that. That's why I have this white piece of paper underneath here. Isn't that so pretty? All right, now it's time to color the actual pumpkin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lighter yellow, and I am just going to pretty much color the whole thing in, including all of the leaves. All right, just simple, fast, doesn't have to be anything too exciting. Here we go. All right, so I've got all my yellow on there. Now remember, this is not like alcohol markers in the sense that they're not alcohol markers, but they are, because we're using them on vellum, you can actually take and blend. So what I'm going to do now is to just blend down. I want to leave the center of it pretty light, and you'll notice I'm going over the embossed images. It doesn't stick to that, so you don't have to worry. This is such a cool little technique. I love it. All right, so here I've just got a little bit of orange on there, and now what I'm going to do is take the burnt sienna and just do a little bit on the top. Now this is what I'm talking about. This is the flower that we're doing. Do you see how flat it was beforehand and how we're adding a little bit of depth? This is done just like if you were using Copic markers or your alcohol markers, because you can blend it on your vellum. Now that I've got my 3 colors there, now I'm going to go back and just like with my alcohol markers, I'm going to start blending. So I'm going to go from the dark to the light. All right, you don't want to scrub it in too much because you don't want to pill up the paper. All right, always have a scrap piece here because we're picking up the color onto the marker and you just want to keep cleaning that off. Do you see how I'm kind of manipulating the color and it's kind of blending in a little bit? This doesn't take very much time at all. I've made quite a few of these and given them out in recent weeks because it's fall. All right, do you see how these colors are just blending in? So I'm blending in the sienna with this orange. Make sure you clean it in between. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to take the next color, clean that off. We're going to take the next color and blend in even more. See how I'm kind of just going over the top of it and just wisping it up. Give it a try. You can do it right along with me. Grab your markers. You just don't want those blunt lines in between there. And that's what we're doing right now. We're just kind of eliminating those blunt lines. You notice I'm not going straight up and down. You don't want to ruin the tip. I'm just kind of going on the side and cleaning it off. All right. And then we're going to go back in. And you see how fast this is? And if you have the combo, you can actually take and just cut these out. You can cut them out by hand if you choose not to do the combo. We do have the stamp all by itself. If you choose not to do that, you can just cut them out by hand. They're pretty simple. They're just round pumpkins. All right. So there is our pumpkin right there. Let's clean this off. Okay. Now we're just going to go to the green. Because these leaves are so tiny, I'm just going to go with one color green. All right. My favorite one is the 177. So right, there's not a, like I said, there's not a lot of green to color. So we're good to go. There we go. Just gives it a little bit more depth. And isn't that absolutely beautiful? Did you see how it went from just a flat pumpkin right up to giving it a little bit of depth by just adding those two colors, blending it in, and you are good to go. So because of the power of doing things ahead of time, I have already cut out all of my pieces and colored them. And now we're just going to start assembling the, these are the dies right here. I love them. All right. And now what we're going to do, like I said, is start assembling them. So here's the card that we have. And remember, I did do the envelope. I did emboss the envelope, but I used alcohol markers because you can't blend with these regular markers on regular cardstock. All right, so for this one right here, I did raise it up. So what I'm going to do is just push these aside. I'm going to get out our brand new strips. These are our 3D foam strips, and they work absolutely fantastic. All right, you guys have already made these a success in the shop, so keep on buying. All right, so here we go. All right. Turn it around. This one needs two pieces because this is our Slimline card. And you can definitely do, you're going to see me doing some fall cards that aren't Slimline. But any of these cards that we're doing right here, you can actually make regular cards out of. All right. You can even take this Slimline die and just cut it right here and add it to your card. So there is a lot of possibilities for this. All right. When you only use part of one, you can just take and one of these strips, if you only use part of it, you can take and add it to your sheet right here and you're good to go, which is what I do all the time. All right, let me grab my scissors. All right, now the other thing I like about these strips is that you can take, and I'm going to show you right now, you can take and you can make them twirl and bend. So what I mean by that is I'm going to take off the sticky stuff and I'm going to start here and I'm just going to bend it. It's so much harder when you're using the foam squares. Now the foam squares, don't get me wrong, do have a purpose, but when you're doing this, it's so much nicer. So I'm just cutting these into threes, and it's easier to manipulate if you have both sides of the paper off. And I'm just going to take this. I just want it so it doesn't cave in the middle. So I want to make sure these little strips work so good. I just want to make sure that we got it popped up in the middle also. Okay, so we're going to take this one and just manipulate it. Absolutely phenomenal for shaker cards. If you have a round shaker card, all you have to do is take the tops off of these and just put them in a circle and you're good to go. All right. There we go. Let's see. And one more. Take the top off. You can do it with the top on, but it's just so much easier with the top off. Okay, and there we go. And last but not least, there we go. All right, let's take the rest of these off. There, I think we got them all. All right, and let's just, whoops, not add it to that. Let's add it to our base card right here. All right, let's clean these little guys up right here. And now just to, I mean, it's so much fun to just design this. So I have 3 of the pumpkins. So I'm just going to kind of lay them out and see where I want them. I do like offsetting them all the way down. Do I want to add one of these little guys? I think I might need to. Let me find them. All right, let's take these off and figure out which one I want to add to it. So for this one, I did the 1, 2, 3 down. So do I want to do this one? Yeah, let's do this one. So for that, I'm just going to glue it right down. And remember, they fit in there perfectly because they came out of those. All right. Well, you could even put designer paper in here. That would be really pretty, to take some designer paper and stick it in here. Oh, so pretty. All right. So they stick right back in there, okay, just like that. And then let's just add our pumpkins. Now for this one, I'm not going to put any of the words in it just yet. I'm just going to add our little pumpkins here. So what I'm going to do is take some of my little strips, and because this is colored, you can actually add the strips on the back. Normally when you're doing Velcro, you got to be very careful because, or not Velcro, listen to me. When you're doing vellum, you got to be very careful because you can see through it and you don't want to see these little strips. But because we've colored it, you can't. So let's just add these. It doesn't matter where you put them. Let's start down here. Let's put this one in the middle. Now, what I did was I put vellum, or I put the foam tape above and below this piece because this is already raised and you don't want it to be bumped up like that. So I just put that right there like that. Let's cut this one in half. Just be careful. That's why you've got to kind of position it first. All right. So I want to put a piece of the foam tape there and there. So here's this one. If you're not sure, just keep going back and checking, because you don't want it on that piece where here, otherwise it'll be bumped up in the middle. All right, and then here. Wasn't this a fast card? And I'm telling you, coloring it, you saw how I colored the one. You can have this done in no time. And I know time constraints are with a lot of people, so just know that this is fast. All right, let's take this little guy right here and decide where we want. So I'm going to put some here and some up here. Grab another one. Cut it in half. Let me just check again where I want it. Put one right down here. Let's see. right here. And then right up here. Okay. Alrighty. Ta-da! So pretty. Now for the words, like I said, I did them. You saw me. I can take and I can just add them like that. I can put them on a piece of paper. I can add them to another one of these. There's so many possibilities. Oh, we don't want to forget these little guys. We can just take and add these anywhere that we want to also. So let's just do that. I'm going to add my little embellishments. So let's just take some of our glue and add it to just one of the leaves. Okay. And we're just going to add just like that. And I love this one. So let's take and one of our little pieces here, put it on the back of this one. Like I said, you can design each and every one of them so it's completely different. Even though you're using the same stamps, always put the top back on this. You don't want it to dry out. I've never had a problem with it clogging. I just want you to know that. Okay, so there's that one. And then we've got, oh, they're just so pretty. We've got this little guy right here. Let's see. Let's put him right there. So I'm going to take and you can move them around after you've got them on your paper. Let's see, let's do that one right there. And I've got this beautiful maple leaf. How about if we do that one right there? So I'm going to take and put a little bit of my foam tape. Now you saw that I put glue on this one. That was because I glued it right to this, and that already had the dimension. So all of the dimension on this is in the same. It's not double popped anywhere. Okay, let me see, where do I want this? About right there. All right, so let's clean this up. All right, now that's our card. Isn't that fun and so fast? I love, first of all, I love slimline cards. I did do the envelope, so when we put it inside here, boom, we're ready to go. And just a fun card, like I said. So pretty. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channels. The little subscribe button is down below. Click on the bell and you'll get a new video every time we do one. You'll get notified right away. Hit the thumbs up button and share this with your friends. Thank you so much for stopping by. We totally enjoy you here. Take care. Have a great day. And again, thank you.